This is A. Thomas Perhacs, and welcome to this video. I've really got some exciting information to share with you today. As I mentioned on the last video, I've kind of given an overview of the MindForce Master System. I want to give you some real value. I want to give you some information that you could readily use that is, this video, as all the videos I'm going to prepare for you, you're going to get some nuggets out of this. And so whether you've ever done hypnotic influence, hypnosis, or whatever you want to call it before, you're going to get some great information out of this, going to get some little nuggets of information that I believe will take your skills to the next level. I will say that I took this information out of my manipulation book or my manipulation manual. You can get more details by looking at that, and obviously with some of the other courses, but this is some great standalone information that I think you're just going to get a great value out of. So anyway, let's get started. What I want to talk about is setting the hypnotic game plan and exactly what that means. Anytime you're looking to hypnotize, influence, persuade, get somebody to come to your way of thinking, you've got to kind of set a game plan. It's really important that you do this because the outcome is the outcome that you expect. And when you're setting up a hypnotic game plan, I say the hypnotic game plan because we're talking about hypnosis, right? And a lot of times people really make hypnosis really more mysterious than it is. But the fact of the matter is you're hypnotizing people all the time with the way you speak, with the way you move, with the way you gesture. It's just natural. Now the difference between becoming highly skilled and doing it by accident is actually having a game plan and understanding what that game plan is and how it works effectively when you look to influence others. That's really the key. And that's what I've been teaching over the years, and that's where students of mine get the biggest bang for the buck, is I teach them how to set this game plan up. So let's go ahead and kind of get an idea of what the game plan is. Why a game plan? You got to really embrace the fact that everyone does something for a specific reason or intent. Once you find out somebody's reasons and intents, you can figure out a way to present a solution to their challenge. I use the word challenge because as we're going through the influence process, the persuasion process, we're looking at it from a standpoint where we're looking for a solution to a challenge. Now that solution could be why that person wants to buy from me. It could be why that person wants to go out with me. It could be why that person wants to act on my advice. That's the game plan. And you kind of go into it understanding the outcome first. I always call it begin with the end in mind. If you understand what your end is going to be, then you can work to getting that information and then putting together a game plan and using all of your hypnotic tools. And I'm going to go into some hypnotic tools. I'm going to actually give you information on this video that I very rarely give away for free, but you're getting it today, and I don't know how long I'm going to keep this video up, but the fact of the matter is I'm giving it to you because you're on my list. So, let me give you a sample to find out a challenge for somebody. And this is through a normal conversation. While I realize that you don't yet know a lot about me, let me just pose something to you. If I were to ask you, what's the one aspect of what you do that is a challenge or that you find most fulfilling, either because you have to find the right people or software, or you just have to focus in to just get yourself motivated to do it, what would that be? Now again, there's some hypnotic languaging. I used a little hypnotic voicing to get this in, but see, let's take a little bit of an analyzation of this to get an understanding of why we would use this entire process. While I realize that you don't yet know a lot about me, again, that presupposes that they don't know a lot about you. And even if they did, it kind of, it doesn't alarm them, because basically what you're saying is that you understand that they may not know a lot about you from a certain reference point. And then the next thing is, let me just pose something to you. It's very, very easy type of sentence. Let me pose something to you. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean that, let me sell you something. Let me pose something to you. It sounds a lot softer than other sentences that you could use. Obviously, use their name. I didn't use the name in the sentence. if I were to ask you. Now, if I were to ask you alone is a very powerful sentence. Very powerful sentence. And what you'll find in my book, Manipulation, I have over close to 70 power sentences that you can use, but this is one of them. If I were to ask you. And what if I were to ask you does in the mind is that, again, when you use the word if, it kind of puts things up in the air, puts the ball up in the air. It's a juggling. It's not, can I ask you? It's if I were to ask you. So it's almost like maybe I will and maybe I won't. Okay? Now, what's the one aspect of what you do that is a challenge or that you find most fulfilling? Either because you have to find the right people or software, or you just have to focus in to get yourself motivated to do it. What would that be? Now, there's a lot of content there. You can break it up further. And again, I'm using this as a kind of a business context. I used to use this statement all the time when I was in software sales and when I had my software consulting company. I use this all the time. So this is a specific sentence structure that I used personally, and it worked very well. Again, it's a questioning process. Now, some of you looking at this will say, what does this have to do with hypnotic influence? You're not hypnotizing anybody. And that's where you're wrong. Anytime you're putting together specific word structures that are going to get you a specific result, you're laying on a hypnotic foundation. What you're doing here is you're asking a question that is allowing you to draw out the challenge from the person. And there's some more details you can go into as well. But this type of sentence structure absolutely works. And again, you can mix and match exactly how you use this. Now, there's another thing you have to look at is, are you moving towards or away? Now, when I say are you, I'm speaking directly to you. But when you're speaking to somebody, you have to look at it from this perspective. And this all comes back to the challenge aspect as well. You've probably heard this over and over again. But moving towards, this type of person that views things from a positive position, they're always looking ahead, looking to the future. They don't get caught up in the past. An example would be someone who looks at their job as a bridge to the future. They may take some risks to get there, but their thinking is always moving forward. They're always looking at opportunities that are ahead of them. And you see, when you find out what somebody is thinking, you can tell how they respond back to you when they talk in terms of the opportunity in front of them. They're looking to move forward. They're looking to move ahead. They're looking to get their goals. They're looking to expand. These are all phrases that make sense. Now, of course, those phrases that I just mentioned, that could be from a business standpoint. But somebody that is looking for a relationship, let's say, they're looking for a new relationship. They're looking for somebody that they can really have a lot of fun with, that they can absolutely do things in a new way, a refreshing way, those types of things. Now, somebody that's moving away, they view things from a more negative perspective. Example would be they look at their job as their security, and their view is to do a good job not to lose it. Okay, whereas the other person is going to do a good job so that they can maybe get promoted. And so the example there is that you have to find out where somebody's at. If you can understand if they're moving ahead or behind, towards or away, you can then use influencing techniques, hypnotic techniques, to get them to come to your way of thinking. Another example would be if somebody is looking for a relationship and they're looking to hold on to it, and they're afraid that they're losing it because maybe they've had relationships in the past where they always break up or they don't work out. That's somebody that's moving away. Now, that's not to say that that's not the type of person you want, but if you are dealing with somebody like that, then you know how to structure exactly what you're looking to accomplish. Again, beginning with the end in mind. These things are extremely important. Let's get into some interesting concepts that really is the key to hypnotic influence. This is, probably the single most important thing that you could ever do in regards to becoming a controller. It's the power of your presence. Carrying yourself with power. if you carry yourself with power, and I've got some really unique techniques to do this, is you will become a controller. You will become the controller in your life. And that's really what all of this is about. Forget about influencing someone else, because that's secondary to becoming powerful in your own world. You see, because when in your own mind you feel like you're the controller in your life, it gives you power. It gives you a sense of power. It gives you a sense that you recognize that power and that you can pretty much set your goals and objectives to coincide with that power that you project and that you expect. You've got to become comfortable with being powerful. And that's another biggie, is that once you start learning concepts that enable you to become what I refer to as a controller or being more powerful, is sometimes people are not comfortable with that. It takes them a while to realize that they're powerful and being comfortable with it. Now, when I say powerful, though, again, this is not a power where you're taking advantage of somebody. It's not a power where you're using it to lord over somebody or anything like that. It's confidence. It's the inner game. It's having that presence of mind, body, and spirit that you are in control of every situation that's out there. Whether it's a negative situation or whether it's a positive situation, you are the controller. And when you become comfortable with that concept, I got to tell you, your life is going to change tremendously. If you just took this one concept right here and nothing else, and you focused on this, and you found the tools and systems to use to build this up, this would make everything worthwhile that you're ever going to do. And that is regardless of whether you ever were to purchase my course or whether you were going to not. That is the key. Now, let's get into 3 levels of communication that I think are real important, that as you learn to become hypnotically influential, let's say, is the way you're going to do it. 3 levels of communication. What you say verbally, obviously putting together patterns, understanding hypnotic protocols and things of that nature. It's very important. But it's not the most important thing. What I just talked about before, your presence, that's really the important thing. I can give somebody patterns and things to say, but if they don't do it with confidence, if they don't do it with power, if they don't do it the right way, it's not going to work as well. What you say mentally. You know, this is a way a lot of times that people will kind of jump off the bus with me when I talk about what you say mentally. And that's because they don't understand the subconscious mind. The fact is that your subconscious mind picks up everything that's around. It picks up mental, picks up physical, it picks up verbally, everything that's going on. And so when I am in front of you and I say something to you verbally and at the same time say something to you mentally, your subconscious mind is picking up both of those communications. And there's some simple techniques that you can use to absolutely see how well it works. And I'm telling you, it works tremendously beneficial. I can't tell you how many. As a matter of fact, I just was speaking with somebody a couple weeks ago, and I gave him some techniques to use. And he wrote me back an email, and he says, I cannot believe how well that worked. I did exactly as you suggested, and I got someone in my office to almost verbatim say to me exactly what I was commanding for them to do mentally. So it's powerful stuff. And then the third thing is, what is your energy projecting? That's the other level of communication, because you could be saying something verbally, mentally, but if your energy is stale, or if your energy is in a way that is pushing somebody away, or that is kind of repelling them, the communication that you're doing verbally and mentally is not going to necessarily work that powerfully. So when you put 3 of these concepts together, it's kind of like a 3-pronged attack, and you get them all lined up properly, your influence and persuasion goes up exponentially over using any one of these things independently. That being said, every one of these used independently works very powerfully as well. The difference is you've got to really isolate yourself and understand, okay, when I do this, I'm going to use all 3 of these. Again, this is powerful stuff, folks, that just take these concepts and utilize them. You're going to get great results. Now, power of tonality. I think I did an MP3 file about this a while back, But I want to go in a little more detail about the power of tonality. Power is in the voice. There's just no doubt about it. And it depends on how you use your voice. Like right now, I'm projecting, I would say, at a medium type of level. But if I really wanted you to listen, I would soften the tone. Because when I soften it, you have to automatically listen more intently. And so it depends on the tones that you use. A lot of energy projects through the voice. And so it's how you use that energy in the voice that is going to determine how well you do. All of the tools that I'm mentioning here are integral. I mean, they are tools that you need to get good at. And if you're not practicing on an ongoing basis your tool set, you're missing the boat of hypnotic influence. Whether you're using my information or anything else that's out there, these are the keys. And I can tell you right now that I will beat most people that think they're so good at this stuff with the tools I've already given you. I don't have to use anything else. And I can teach you exactly how to do that. That's the power of tonality. I've used tonality where people I can see the shock in their eyes just because of the tonality that I use. And there's a lot of power in the voice. And there's more to the power in the voice than just conjuring up some convoluted voice or convoluted tonality. There's specific energetic ways that you're going to create that power. And that really is the essence of what we're covering here. So a lot of power in tonality in the voice. There's a lot of power in your eyes. The eyes contain immense power that when you utilize them, they are going to send out an impression. Now, they could send out a negative impression or a positive impression. And what I would suggest that you do is look in a mirror at your eyes and focus on them and use different expressions or gestures and see what type of energy projects through your own eyes. The other way to do it is also to have somebody take photos of you. And I know this is kind of weird because to get somebody to take photos of you and you're going to make all these strange faces, it's kind of weird. But what you do is you would say, okay, I want you to take a photo of me, 10 photos of me, and you do an angry face, a happy face, a sad face. You use your eyes as if you were staring menacingly at somebody. You use your eyes as if you were elated with joy. You use your eyes, all these different contexts. Have somebody take your photo, and you can take those photos. With the age of digital photography, let's face it, you could do that very easily. You could do it on your webcam. Any ways possible, and analyze it. What's the energy that's coming off of your eyes when you do those different gestures? Can you pick that up? Now, the value of this is twofold. Number one is the value that you get so that you can project from your eyes, right? And then the secondary value is the value that you get from interpreting it from somebody else. Because I could look at somebody's eyes as I'm talking with them for a matter of minutes, and I can read their intents very quickly. I mean, one of the things that I teach and that is really one of the side benefits of this is reading people well. And I can talk to somebody in about 5 minutes. I pretty much got their game plan down. I know what type of person they are. I can almost tell what motivates them, where they're at, what they're doing, how I can influence them, and it's just really skills that you learn over time. But a lot of that's the eyes. A lot of that is what's in those eyes. You can tell a lot from somebody's eyes. I mean, just just go online and do a search for eyes, power of the eyes, and see how many different photographs there are of just people taking eyes. Obviously, there's the concept of hypnotic eyes, and that's powerful stuff. Don't disregard that. There's a lot of hypnotists, so-called hypnotists, and people that say that there's no power in the eyes, but the only reason they say that is because they don't want people to have that power. I've had so many people email me recently about, why are you letting this information out? This should only be for the chosen few or whatever, but that's not my way of going about things. I like to share information with people. So there's a lot of power in your eyes. Learn how to utilize it, and you'll be super effective. Power of your hands. Your hands transmit power. And as you send that power out, you're going to get results. The question is how your hands transmit power, how you use them, because the way you use it is going to determine the results you get. And that result could be an ineffective type of result, or it could be a super effective result. Obviously, you've noticed hypnotists that say, focus on my hands. You are now getting sleepy and more relaxed. They may use a pendulum, they may use some other timepiece, or they may use a metronome or something of that effect, but you could use your hands. Some really unique inductions that we go into in manipulation that focus on the hands and using the hands, and just unique stuff that you can use in everyday life. And if you see somebody talking with their hands, obviously most people don't know how to talk with their hands. They just do because that's something they do. It's a nervousness or whatever. I've had some people write me and say, hey, you look nervous because you're talking with your hands. It's not nervousness at all. I'm using my hands as transmitters. Whether you believe that or not, that's okay. But I know they work. And here's the concept that I want to get across to you in this entire video, is that what you're looking at here is the entire concept of using a system of tools that, combined with other systems, exponentially increase your probability and possibility of getting somebody to be hypnotically influenced by you, conversationally hypnotized by you, covertly hypnotized and persuaded by you, because you're using all the correct tools. And that's really what this is all about. And that's why I wanted to share this video with you, to give you some really good meat, some good information that makes sense to you. And just to let you know that these power systems are but a few of the secrets that you can learn. Hey, I've enjoyed sharing this information with you. I'd recommend that you go over this video several times to really get these nuggets of information to work for you. Take some notes and study it. And if you already own Manipulation and some of the other books and courses that I offer, just go back and kind of underline it and hashline it and say, okay, this is what I need to concentrate on. Write the game plan down. Understand what you want. What is your outcome? Begin with the end in mind, and you'll get fantastic results. I thank you for watching, and I always enjoy sharing this information with you. So long.